Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles? Let me get a hell yeah!
Yo, what's going on, guys? We are back. Welcome to Party on Broad. It is Dive, Mr. Crockpot. We are going to now do a Tobias Harris first half analysis. Before we get started, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out on Twitter at The Panel Lines. We're now on Twitch. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Please comment in the chat what we want to just engage with you. And today, joining us is my man, Justin. You know him on Twitter at J_Persichetti. Justin, long time no see.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? We out here doing stuff about Tobias Harris. Hope everyone having a good morning. And we're going to talk some Tobias Harris today.
Let's do it. Also joining is my man, Tiago. Follow him on Twitter at Tscabia. Tiago, what's up?
I can't have that accent, man. I'm sorry. I just don't have that accent to talk about Tobias Harris.
You don't got this in the repertoire? What you mean?
No. But it's exciting to talk about the $300 billion guy, Tobias Harris here, looking like an all-star, man. Should have been an all-star, I'll tell you that.
Should have been an all-star. It's kind of like the main takeaway of Tobias Harris's first half of the season. I have some graphs here. You look at his usage percentage and you look at his true shooting percentage. It kind of flatline, maintaining trend. He's kind of been the rock for the Sixers in many respects. You look at his offensive and defensive rating. His offensive rating has a slightly increasing trend, which you'd love to see. Tiago, lead us off. What has been your takeaway for Tobias Harris this first half?
So when you're looking at that graph, right, you look at the usage to shooting, and you said the word like it's kind of flatline, and it can have like a negative connotation. But to me, it speaks exactly who Tobias Harris is, right? He's the kind of guy who's very steady, very consistent, and you generally know what you're going to get from him on a nightly basis. It's nice to have that on the roster because when he's not there, and we saw that in a two-game stretch, particularly that game against Cleveland, like things can go haywire, man. Like, he's the kind of guy who handles the ball a lot, scores a lot, but most important, like he doesn't turn the ball over a lot, man. And those things are important. And, Tobias is the kind of player, he's a steady scorer, steady player. But really what stood out for me in the first half of the year is how good he's been in critical moments of the game. So, for instance, the NBA has a stat called clutch time stats, which means it's 5 minutes in a 5-point game, right? So they start measuring player performance in the 5 minutes of a 5-point game, either direction, losing or winning. And I'm going to give you some Tobias Harris clutch time stats that may kind of send shockwaves around the podcast. So points in clutch time, 27th in points. Points off turnover, 12 in points. Now here's where things get very interesting. Plus minus in clutch time, Tobias Harris is number 1 in the NBA. So that tells you how impactful he is with the game on the line. Also, net rating, 5th among 170 players with a net rating of 46 in clutch time. These are for players that played over 10 clutch games played. So that really tells you the whole story. He's the kind of guy you're going to get steady performance over the course of 4 quarters. But really, when you need him alongside Joel Embiid, he's the guy, man. He's been the guy to drive the Sixers home. So that's been the story for Tobias so far.
What about you, Justin? Quick takes on Tobias Harris before we get to the film.
No, this is enough said to me right here. This tweet right here to me is enough said. The fact that you can compare Tobias Harris, like this is what you need in Tobias Harris, a scorer who is just all around, can do everything for you, and that is what he's been. And if tape shows. Carmelo, Tobias Harris, like that's the fact. Like the fact that you can even say that like that he's been scoring like him is just. I love it.
Wild.
Let's go on to a little pick and roll conversation. You look at his pick and roll frequency way up from last year, 22.2%. Points per possession as a ball handler is 1.0. Same number we saw with Doc Rivers in the Clippers in 2018. His effective field goal percentage is also the same compared to his days with Doc Rivers in LA. And you look at the turnover frequency, you gotta love that. So this is a guy, and any comments on his pick and roll? I want to also get his ISO numbers up. Any comments on his pick and roll game this season?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought about this, but Tobias had mentioned that a couple games ago about Doc saying, why didn't Brett have you going? I think he said left, right? So Brett only had you going right, not left. And Tobias like, yeah, man, I like going left, but Brett always wanted me to go right. So, this speaks to like the coaching that he's getting that fits the player. And I thought that perhaps the Sixers try to recreate a player under Brett Brown that was not really well suited for his skill sets, in particular being a high volume 3-point shooter. You can make the case that, there's more value in Tobias being a catch and shoot guy in the system and shooting a high volume of threes because he's a great 3-point shooter. But it's just not his game, man. Like, he just doesn't like it. That's not what he really wants to get done in his bag. So I think the Sixers have unlocked a quicker player, a more decisive player, which is very important, right? So you're not driving the clock away for 10 to 15 seconds. That's important, regardless of the coaching staff is. But you're also – go ahead, Chris.
When you think of Tobias Harris, you think of Doc Rivers. I mean, I think you just go absolutely hand in hand, and how Doc Rivers has been able to unlock the Tobias Harris that we know and love back when his days with the Clippers has been everything. And one of the biggest reasons the Sixers are first in the Eastern Conference. You look at his ISO numbers, 5.8% this season. So the ISO frequency is down, but my goodness, look at the points per possession, 1.36 in ISO, effective field goal percentage of 71.4%.
That's okay. It's okay.
My good, so I mean, we had a comment during the post-game show, like, why doesn't, not the post-game, the Ben Simmons pod, and like, why doesn't Ben get the ball in the fourth quarter? This is why. Yeah,
that's exactly why. Like, that's why I brought up those clutch time stats, because most of that damage is done in clutch time. Like, it's ISO ball, right? So Joel's having a tough time or getting double teamed. The ball is swinging it back to Tobias Harris, and you're showing right there why he's such an impactful late game performer. I mean, those numbers are wild, absolutely wild.
Yeah, and you saw it against Utah the other day, but right before we went into the All-Star break, is like he's literally was given the ball almost every single possession at the end of the game in overtime. Like, they were like, okay, we like this matchup against Bogdanovich. Here's the ball. And they kept feeding him. And then as soon as they started throwing doubles at him on that side of the court, they brought Tobias to the other side of the court and had him going up against Joe Ingles again and again, Bogdanovich. Yeah. It's just like he and something I want to talk about is his post play. Coming into the league, Tobias Harris was a post player. Like, that's what he was in college. And it seems like he's like throughout his career, he's moved farther and farther away from the basket in the sense of like trying to become a better 3-point shooter, which he has, but also running more pick and roll type stuff with him as the ball handler. And it just seems like this year, especially, he's been using the post a lot more for us than he even did with the Clippers. Because when he was with the Clippers, he was more used as the pick and roll ball handler. He was more like he did post, but not as much as he does now. And so I think it's just indicative of him, one, growing his game and to the outside and to the mid-range, like shooting, but also still being able to do what he came into the league being good at, and that is posting up and driving to the basket. So it's just all around. He's just such like not a lot of players grow with the amount he has in his career, and it's just so impressive.
I think the growth is we talked a lot about how Doc Rivers has led to a more calm and confident Joel Embiid during our Joel Embiid pod. I think that's also the case here with Tobias Harris. Tiago, you touched on it. Like, just how quicker he is with the ball in his hands is so noticeable when watching this tape. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm so optimistic about the Sixers' chances in the playoffs this year. The Sixers finally have that guy that can get a bucket when you need it. And him, confident, and reacting with the ball and being aggressive. Tobias Harris, I think that is like that. How many times last year did we fail to see Tobias Harris shoot from three or just kind of let the team down in a sense offensively? I think this is a completely new Tobias Harris that we haven't seen since 2018 Los Angeles Clippers, and just so much credit needs to be given to Doc Rivers for being able to unlock this guy, because that's going to have major major results when the playoffs start.
Yeah, to your point, Chris, is Tobias Harris Kevin Durant? No. Even though he's getting paid to be Kevin Durant. I mean, he's not. Let's just call it like it is. But there is tremendous value in what he brings to the Sixers offense, in particular to what you guys have talked about, is that really being that Swiss Army knife, right? So isolation, pick and roll, post ups. That is a powerful tool, man, because like Justin said in the Utah game, like the Sixers with Tobias Harris in overtime abuse Utah's perimeter defense. You know, he's too big for some guys. He's too fast for others. So can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry, guys. Oh, cool. Yeah, so there's tremendous value in that. So absolutely.
Yeah. So what are your expectations for Tobias Harris in the second half of the season? I mean, for me, it's that fourth quarter. You nailed it, Tiago. Like that game against the Jazz. Like, wasn't he shooting like really poorly in that game? And then once overtime hit, like it was just bang, 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 Tobias Harris, and that's what you need. What are your guys' expectations for Tobias Harris in the second half?
I'll go first. My expectations for him are just to stay consistent. Like realistically, that's about it. Like if he can stick with scoring what he is right now, obviously if he could score more, awesome, because scoring is what we need from him. But if he can stay consistent with his percentages and even play well defensively, oh my God, that dunk!
Sorry, just let me interrupt real quick.
Mm-hmm.
How many dunks have we seen this year that we compared to years past, where he just comes out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Completely where did that come from?
It's always been there. It's the fact that we just talked about this earlier, and I was going to touch on it before you guys already did. Like the fact that we brought in more 3-point shooters, and we no longer have to have him be relied upon always to shoot threes. Like really think about it. Last year we relied upon Furkan, Tobias Harris, and Shake Milton to our 3-point shooters at the end of the season. This year, we get to rely on Seth Curry, Danny Green, Furkan, and Shake to be our 3-point shooters. And obviously Tobias shoots threes as well, but he can now play his game, and that is going to the rim. Like or being in the mid-range. Like that is his game more. And so you love to see a player who thrives in a system, and it's not even about just thriving in the system; it's thriving in his role with the different role players that are around him. And you've seen that with every single star on this team. Joel, Ben, and Tobias have all played so much better with having more consistent and actual 3-point shooters around them.
What about you, Tiago? What are your expectations for the second half of the season?
So just to touch on what Justin's point was, I think it's very important. Like Doc is trying to maximize Ben and Joel on the court at all times, which means that it's Tobias Harris and no longer Tyrese Maxey running that second unit.
Yep.
And that's like a lot to put on Tobias Harris's shoulder because he's not naturally a shot creator. And I think that he's handled that pretty well. So the Sixers bench unit have not necessarily falling apart entirely. And that's supposed to be because of Tobias Harris. He's been a steady influence in running those second units. So my expectation for him is to really, when called upon, to really come in there and kind of handle that load. I mean, we know offensively around Ben and Joel, he's going to get open shots. He's going to get his without, much problems. But it's when he's running that second unit, the Sixers don't have that traditional kind of backup point guard. Shake has done a little bit of that. Tyrese is just not there right now. So they're going to need him to really step up until they get somebody else, if they get somebody else, to handle that load. And those 5 to 10 minutes that, Ben and Joel are not on the court, those are critical, man. And Tobias, if he doesn't turn the ball over, if he stays in the control, I think the Sixers should be fine there. So that's what I'm looking for in the second half with Tobias.
Yeah, one of the revelations has been taking the ball out of Ben Simmons and putting the ball in the hands of Tobias Harris. And I think we've seen –
I love that pull-up. I love that pull-up.
That pull-up. Like you're watching –
double between the legs, right up, and just comfortable shot. They didn't even see it coming right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great pull-up shooter, man.
Yeah, there's a lot – we're watching the tape right now. There's a lot that we see from Tobias Harris here that we haven't seen in years past. He's quicker. He's not just he's shooting over the pick and roll. Like there are just so many elements of Tobias Harris's game that have been unlocked this season. He's beating guys off the dribble. He's more confident, quick with the ball. Like
that's an important point, Chris.
Look at that spin move, baby. Like, come on, man. Like
have you guys noticed that Tobias isn't getting blocked at the rim as much as he was last year? Like that's something that I know. He last year I would notice sometimes he would go up soft at the rim and he would get like blocked. I've noticed this year he's had more floaters from more the free throw line, like a little bit behind the restricted area. And when he's going to the rim, he's going hard. Like last year I noticed there were times when he would go up, it would be like a block, and I haven't really seen him get blocked this year.
So I think Doc just be like, yo, just make up your mind and go, right? I think just having that mindset helps. I think the spacing around them helps because there's less help defense around them.
That too.
And I think most important is having him play power forward and no longer be a small forward, right? So we talk about beating guys off the dribble. It's a lot harder to beat a Jaylen Brown off the dribble than it is to be, like a traditional power forward. So yeah. So I think those modifications have really helped Tobias this year.
When I think of Tobias Harris, I also think of leader. In seasons past, he's always been kind of that leader off the court.
Yeah.
And this year it's been a leader on the court. And when I say leader on the court, like all those stats are amazing. But there have been so many situations where the Sixers are kind of in a rut and the other team is on a run. And how many times have we seen Tobias Harris get this team out of that rut and kind of get bang, bang, bang buckets? We've seen this guy just locked in way more than he has in years past, where this guy's just got that, like, I don't know the scientific word, but the Kobe eyes, where he is just locked in and he's gonna get his. And this is just another clear nod to Doc Rivers for putting him into a role that he's comfortable in, and he's really thriving because of that.
And I want to say real quick, like with Tobias, it's not only in his scoring that shows like where when he's trying to pick his team up if they're in a rut, but it's also like you can hear him on the court. Yeah. Like you see him talking. Like he's always talking to people. He's always like giving people hard high fives, walking up to people, like saying good job, like, because like Ben is definitely more of like a quiet dude. Like obviously he's gotten louder throughout the years, but Ben's more quiet. Joe is kind of like Joe gets excited, but he's more like he hypes himself up. Damn there. Yeah. So it's like to have Tobias who's like talking and like obviously we're not on the court, but having Tobias like talking to people and you could see it. It's like that leadership is just you can't buy that. Like that's just him. It's awesome.
we have some it never fails at like 9 a.m. on a Saturday. The Korkmaz battle he's on.
Is there a Korkmaz battle happening? What's happening?
There might be. But anyway, it never fails. All right, guys. Final thoughts on Harris and plugs. Go ahead, Thiago.
I can't. Ferk, there's not one podcast where Cork wants to get dragged.
Bro, Jonathan, that was a great comeback. Yo, hold on. I just got to bring it up.
Oh, there.
Nadir, he got you right there, bro.
I hope his family's not watching this. Korkmaz's family.
Oh man, that's funny.
All right,
Cork, we love you, bro.
Plugs and final thoughts. Let's wrap this up and get on with Saturday.
Plugs. I'm writing a piece this week about DeMar DeRozan, who's a really, really good player for San Antonio. Should have probably been an all-star. And the Spurs have him running point guard now, which is an entirely different way that Toronto used them. So it's pretty wild stuff. Yeah.
Oh, my man, Thiago. I love how Furcon Korkmaz completely derailed the Tobias Harris podcast. But anyway, follow my man Thiago on Twitter at TScabby. Check out his amazing work at thepaintalliance.com. Justin, you're up, bro.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter, guys. Oh yeah, Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris, man, he's a beast for real. Like I love that guy, and as much as he pained me last year with he wasn't playing very well. This year, Doc has just turned that around completely, and you love to see it. You love to see it. But yeah, go follow me on Twitter if you are not already. All blue coat stuff, all Sixers stuff, all Eagles, Philly stuff, basically. But the Blue Coats play today at 3 p.m. So if you want updates, highlights, post-game conference quotes and everything, go follow me on Twitter. And yeah.
All right. That is it. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please be sure to smash that like button, turn on notifications. Please
smash it.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, you name it. So, again, thank you, everyone, for watching. I think we're going to be doing an NBA All-Star Game watch party, so that's going to be really, really fun. Always excited for the All-Star Game, one of my favorites. Again, go Tobias Harris. Stay awesome, guys.
Sixers win it! Wow! Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles! Let me get it!